Since BO4 looks so much like BO3, how can this game improve and be better than Borderlands 3? Do you think Gearbox has set a bar that only tops at mediocrity, and why replayability doesn't seem to be a benchmark for them anymore? Do you think negativity in the Borderlands community leads the devs to make subpar games? Or do you think that without the criticism about the games, the devs would be even worse? Alright, so today I'm going to be doing a little Q&A to answer some of your Borderlands questions. We've seen the Borderlands 4 trailers, and I've been covering all of the recent Borderlands 4 news, so obviously a good chunk of these will have to do with the new release, with some of them being general questions and then other just like franchise-based questions. And with that being said, one of the big questions would have to be, is negativity ruining Borderlands 4? Well, I've got a lot to say, so with that being said, let's just dive straight into it. Now, I also want to preference this by saying I am feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm getting sick again. I don't know what the fuck's going on with me this year, but no matter what happens, even if my voice doesn't have that same crisp, not that same sexiness to it, Hellfire's still going to be here to go ahead and cut this commentary. So with that being said, our first question comes from Arakiel, and he says, do you think negativity in the Borderlands community leads the devs to make subpar games, or do you think without the criticism about the games, the devs would be even worse? So yeah, to be honest, I know this is what I'm going to title the video, because I think this is an important one to go ahead and knock out right here, right now. If we are not critical about what this company is doing, Gearbox we're talking about specifically, then they will continue to make the same mistakes that they have been making since 2014. I just want to say that yes, I think the negativity is absolutely necessary. It is crucial in the Borderlands space because a lot of the community likes to blow smoke up each other's asses. They like to say, oh, you know what, this thing looks great because of this, that, and the other thing. Or you also have creators being paid to go ahead and promote this said product, you know, and stuff like this has been happening for years in this community. And for me at least, I see the negative feedback just as important as I do the positive feedback. And I even explained this in a recent video where I discussed where they're actually silencing criticism on Borderlands 4. I'll leave that in the link below if you guys missed that video. But yeah, I really do think they need to listen, because if they do not, or if we just lay down and just let them do whatever the hell they want and not voice our concerns, then maybe they're not even going to understand what they're doing wrong. So yeah, to wrap that up, basically what I'm trying to say is without the criticism, Borderlands 4 would basically just fall on its face. There's no way the game could improve upon anything that it's going to be when it comes out if we don't criticize it for what it is. So to answer the first part of your question, no, I don't think negativity leads the devs to make subpar games, but I do think it leads them to squirm a little bit even when they're still developing. And in my opinion, at least, they absolutely should be squirming, because this franchise has been on the decline for a long ass time. And when this is my favorite franchise that I've ever played, and only about half of the games are even somewhat decent to really good, and not even if you're counting spin-offs and what they did with the movie and stuff like that, there's been a lot of stuff to be left desired in regards to the Borderlands name. And I think without that criticism about the games and, you know, whatever projects that they happen to be doing, that yes, it would be even worse. And the next question comes from Made in the Shade Creations, and he says, what was the catalyst that allowed you to begin creating content about the things that you love so much? Love the passion, man. Keep it up. First of all, I want to say thank you for that, and I appreciate everybody that did leave questions on that community post. And to be honest, the catalyst was, over the years, I just started watching Borderlands videos less and less and less. And it wasn't because I disliked the creators that were making the content, but it was because they weren't making the videos that I wanted to watch or that I found interesting anymore. So I figured, you know what? What the hell, maybe I should actually knuckle down and just try, just go for it, to make videos on my favorite franchise of all time, explain why I love it so much, explain all the different stories and avenues and all the knowledge that I have, just get all of this almost what seemed to be pointless information for all of these years about these games, and now I finally get to actually put it into motion and share it with people that are like-minded and also enjoy the same thing as me. So, I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. I was just like, fuck it. If nobody's going to make Borderlands videos that I want to watch, maybe I should just try and make those myself. What I'm about to say might come across as egotistical, but no, I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything like that, but I genuinely don't think there's anyone out there, at least that I've seen, making videos that are even similar or close in any way to the content that you will see on the Hellfire channel. And that's a fact that I'm proud of, that I can actually come up with unique and interesting content on games that have been out for over a decade at this point. Oh god, is Ava going to be a prominent character? Okay, so yeah, more than likely Ava is definitely going to be in Borderlands 4. I mean, she literally got Maya's siren powers in the third game, so I pretty much see no world where she's not in the game. But I do want to clear up a rumor, and it's that a lot of people actually think that the playable siren in the Borderlands 4 trailers that we've seen is actually an older Ava that they've aged up. And I can just confirm that this is 100% not true. Not only do the characters look different in a lot of different ways, but despite their lack of similarities, I still do think that Ava will be in Borderlands 4. Will she be a prominent character? I would have to say probably not, because if they take any sort of feedback at all from the third game, they will know that the fan base disliked that character and how it was almost forced down our throats that this was supposed to be the leader of this group, that this was supposed to be the next generation. It was almost like if you've seen The Walking Dead, you have Rick Grimes and Carl. It was almost like how that was played out in the comic book series, if you get what I'm saying, but just in way worse execution. And I'm talking about the Borderlands method in terms of Ava and, you know, getting Maya killed and everything like that. It was just a bunch of bullshit. And yes, obviously Lilith was involved there, but who really cares? And to answer your question, yes, I think Ava will be a part of Borderlands 4, but will she be a prominent character? I would have to say no. Well, we got the Sigma Man God here coming in with the next question, or at least I think that's what his name says. But anyway, he says, what's good for Flack? Because I can't do shit with him on Mayhem 10. Oh, how do I even answer this question, dude? Just play literally any other game. We have Sevzy coming in and he says, a random question is, what's the rarest perfect gun? It's well known that the Hide of Terror is the rarest drop, but that's a shield. Well, Sevzy, at least to my knowledge, I think it has to be the Nemesis Invader from Borderlands 1. Now, if you don't know, this gun sits at, and it's a pearl, by the way, so it means you can only get it from a couple different sources in Borderlands 1. You got like Cromorax, the Lance chest, but in the last 15 years that Borderlands 1 has been out, there has been 2 confirmed drops of the Nemesis Invader, which sits at a 0.000000002 chance to drop, or 1 in 500 million. So yeah, to say the least, it's not quite the easiest gun to get. Since BO4 looks so much like BO3, how can this game improve and be better than Borderlands 3? Okay, well, this is another easy one, and I just want to say that I'm currently in the middle of making some videos that are actually detailing all of the things that are pulled from the Borderlands games that they should actually apply to Borderlands 4. I got another one of those coming later this week about stuff they should pull from Borderlands 2, but to just simply answer this question, all they have to do is listen. All they have to do, man, is take in the feedback that they've got and apply it to the project. That's it. That's all they've got to do to make this game better than Borderlands 3, because I think simply turning too much of a blind eye to what the community was saying back during Borderlands 3. And while they did listen to some things, there was plenty of things that the community had to go out of their way to fix themselves, or you have the game still even having game-crippling lag and crashes even till this very day. So just better optimize the game and put in things that the community actually wants, like dedicated loot farming, pearls if you want, you know, stuff like that, a bunch of raid bosses, all the shit that people want out of a Borderlands game. Put it in there at launch and you will make us happy. We then have Abby Normal with the next question, and she says, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And then she leaves sorry, had some phlegm to huck up there for a second, but she leaves us with a smiley face and then says, keep up the good work. Well, thank you for the question, and to be honest, I don't know. That's a very good one. I have no idea. And the next question says, how would you feel if we had to face the final bosses of the Borderlands franchise again? The Destroyer, Handsome Jack / the Warrior, and then the Calypso twins, since the Timekeeper could control time itself. Now, honestly, I just want to say right off the bat, we don't know how the Timekeeper is going to control time in the story. Obviously, he will. He would not have that time otherwise, but we just don't know to what extent that will be used in the story, so we can't really say for sure if any of these bosses will be coming back to life. And I know you're not saying that either. You're just asking me the hypothetical of if that were to happen, what would I think about it? How do I feel about that as an idea for the end of the game? Well, to be honest, let's just run down those fights for a minute. The Destroyer destroyer was a bit ass, we can all admit. I mean, it was a giant wall. It's a terrible fight. Would anybody want to do that again in 2025? I would have to say no. The warrior, okay, the warrior's an alright fight, but at the end of the day, he was also super easy, and so was Handsome Jack. They were both pushovers, so those fights would have to be drastically different than they were in Borderlands 2, and obviously the Destroyer as well. So changing them so much, it probably wouldn't even feel right, you know. They would have to change the fights so much that it would honestly just feel like a bad nostalgia trip. And in terms of the Calypso twins, yeah, no, nobody wants to see them again. So how would I feel about it? Honestly, I'm gonna say no. I don't think that's a great idea at all. But it's not any offense to you, my man. I appreciate you for leaving the question, but just personally, I don't think that would work. But much love, my brother. I appreciate you for leaving the question. Douglas Pope comes in with the next one, and he says, in your opinion, what is the boss that makes you go, oh shit, please no, the most in the Borderlands franchise? This is a good question, dude. I'm gonna have to sit here and actually think about this for a minute. It's gotta be Cromarax, actually. Cromarax from Borderlands 1, no doubt. I sat here and thought about it for a minute. It took me a couple of minutes to actually think about what boss it was, but it's easily Craw. And I have also went over him in the top 5 hardest bosses, so I won't sit here and ramble about him forever, but he's easily the one where when I go down, I'm like, oh shit, please no. Whether it be, you know, being so close to getting him killed, or just the Craw maggots just sneaking up on you, flying at your ass, knocking you off the map, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different scenarios where I'm saying, oh shit, in that fight, so I definitely have to go with Cromarax from the OG Borderlands 1. Prequel Trilogy has the next question, and this is a good-ass question, I have to say. I had to throw this in here, and he says, what's the best Borderlands map design and style? BL1's fixed revealed map, BL2's area discovery map, or BL3's paint map reveal? Additionally, what map design for BL4 would you want, even if it hasn't been done in the Borderlands franchise? Alright, as one of the biggest Borderlands 2 glazers, I think you know where this is about to go. And as much as I love Borderlands 1, and I enjoyed, you know, how they did that in that game, I think Borderlands 2's discovery was easily the best, man. It made you want to actually check out every single little nook and cranny of the map. It made you want to do all the side missions so it could take you to these areas that you otherwise would not be able to see. I felt inclined to look around for Easter eggs once I figured out that, hey, you got these creepers and this Minecraft shit tucked away in this corner. Stuff like that is what makes Borderlands, because the game has always in a way felt semi-open world without being open world, and that's what makes it so damn special. But the paint reveal was garbage. A lot of that we could just easily, we were just skipping around, let's be honest. We were going into our inventory and we were traveling to wherever was closest to our waypoint. We did not even care in that game about exploring the maps because a lot of them were big and empty anyway, with not a whole lot going on. So easily, I'd have to say the Borderlands 2 area discovery map has to be the one that I would want applied to the current formula. And the next question comes from Open World Headhunter, and he says, joints, blunts, bong, pipe, or dabs? Now, I don't think I need to explain what this man is talking about here, but to be honest with you, it's gotta be the bong. And the next one comes from Eli's Hustler, and he says, do you consider the failure of the pre-sequel to be related to the failure of modern games, or do you see it as two distinctly different failures from Gearbox? Now, that right there is a loaded question, and to be honest, yes, I actually do. I would say that the pre-sequel was the first step down in quality in terms of the Borderlands IP. And while a lot of us will still kind of debate and say that, you know what, it's not near as bad as, say, like Wonderlands, or even a lot of us enjoy it more than Borderlands 3, when you compare it to the heights of Borderlands 2 or even Borderlands 1, it just lacks in the in-game content, in the replayability. It's just not as good of a game. So no, I don't actually see it as two different failures. And while there was a lot going on with the pre-sequel's demise, whether it be Randy Pitchford not wanting to put in dedicated loot farming and saying, you know, if you enjoy farming, just to go play Destiny instead. You know, there was a lot that went on with that game's demise, but you've also got to take in the fact that they abandoned the game after only one real DLC, just like they did with Wonderlands. And I know Wonderlands had like the mirror content or whatever. I don't even count that. But the pre-sequel was supposed to have 4 mainline DLCs. Now they ended up like working around that and saying that the level up bonus was one, or the level up pack was one of them, as well as like the DLC characters. But it's still bullshit. People paid for that season pass expecting to get 4 full DLCs, and I mean story DLCs, out of that season pass. So while the pre-sequel has a lot of interesting facts and lore tied behind its failure, it is definitely connected to the current failures as well, as the pre-sequel was the first real sign that the company was losing its luster with the community and what we actually wanted in these games. And the next question comes from Peentud, and that is one hell of a username. But anyway, he says, how do you get back into Borderlands after having not played for a while? Now this is one I also plan to do an entire video on, so go ahead and subscribe if you guys are not already. Look forward to that. But to just kind of quickly answer your question here, what I would personally recommend is to pick a character that you have played the least. Now, whatever your favorite Borderlands game is, whether that be Borderlands 3, Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel, Borderlands 1, it doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. And then in whichever Borderlands game that happens to be your favorite, go ahead and try to play whatever Vault Hunter that you have personally played the least. Now, if it is also your least favorite Vault Hunter, then maybe try and stay away and then pick the next best option in terms of your least played. But that's usually what gets me back into it when I'm a little bit burnt out. And if you have bled hours into all of the Vault Hunters in your favorite game at this point, then maybe try your second favorite Borderlands game and try that formula with it as well. BJ says, how much of the old cast will be a part of the storyline in 4? Meaning, will Moxie still look like she does with the makeup? And what about Tannis and Ellie? How have they grown since Lilith phase punched Elpis away from Pandora? Also, how long do you think the main campaign mode will be, and then the DLC extensions? I really want this game to be long and fun to play through. Well, based on Borderlands 3, it'll probably be a bit longer of a campaign. We know that that one was super fucking long. They dialed it back in Wonderlands, so I would say probably about as long as Wonderlands. I can't remember exactly the hours for that one, so I will go ahead and just put that up on screen. And I see that as a better length than what they went for in Borderlands 3. I felt like it dragged a little bit and was actually a little bit too long. And as far as the DLCs and how long those are gonna be, well, dude, that's a toss-up, to be honest. They will more than likely be like 3 hours, 4 hours, I would say. And 4 hours would be like counting like all the side missions and doing literally everything in the DLC. And I only say that because the DLC stories were never super long and drawn out. You could usually beat them in one sitting if you just sit down and go for it. Wow, okay, so I can't read this guy's name, but he says, what state are you from? I've been curious because your mannerisms are unique to me, not in a bad way. Well, I don't exactly know if my mannerisms are unique to where I'm from, because I don't really sound like a lot of people that are actually from the state that I'm from, but I actually live in Arkansas. It's a smaller southern state over here in the United States, of course. I'm sure you were able to figure out I was from America, at least if you haven't already. But yeah, that's where I'm from, if you were curious. And Giovanni comes in with the next question. He says, be honest with me, man, what the fuck happened to Borderlands as a series? After Borderlands and Borderlands 2, the series and company have been on a steady nosedive where 3 games later, it looks like BO4 is our last chance. What did Bitchford do? Well, a better question would be, what hasn't Randy Bitchford done, as you called him there, to sink this company over the last decade? And if you didn't know, I am actually working on a documentary breaking down every single controversy and every single thing about the man's career. So eventually you will find out exactly what the man did. But until then, I'm just going to leave you with that. And last but certainly not least, from Ketamine Hygiene, he says, do you think Gearbox has set a bar that only tops at mediocrity? And why replayability doesn't seem to be a benchmark for them anymore? Now this question has a very sad answer, and I left it for last on purpose. Not only was it the last question that I saw leading into this recording, but I'm glad that he actually asked it before I started this, because it's an important one and I wanted to go ahead and highlight it here. I've went on record saying that they set the bar a little bit too high with Borderlands 2, and I now want to go on record to say that we the fans have set the bar so low for Borderlands 4 that you basically need to fucking shut us up. You absolutely have to show us that we are wrong about you as a company, Gearbox. You have to. So yeah, to be honest, I kind of do think Gearbox has set the bar at mediocrity. And why replayability doesn't seem to be a big deal for them anymore? Well, because it doesn't help with money. If we just stay playing the same games from 10 years ago, why the hell would we buy the new garbage that they're putting out? And that is exactly the shit that they do not want in their games now. They realize that they gave us too much with Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1. and that's exactly why in every single release that's followed since the second game, we've got less and less to do. Because unfortunately, the company values money over replay value and the consumer experience. But yeah, that's all the questions that I wanted to answer here today. I want to say thank you all for watching this video till the end, and if you did enjoy it, please smash a like on it and consider subscribing if you guys are new. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought, or if you have any sort of feedback to add to any of the questions, or maybe even any of your opinions on my answers, whatever the case may be. I love replying to you guys down below and hearing both sides of it, so I'm very open-minded when it comes to stuff like that, so never feel afraid to let your thoughts be known down in my comment section. I will never ban, block, or delete anything. But with that, you guys know the drill. I love you channel members. You motherfuckers keep this channel going. And even though there's not that many of you guys, I would never complain even if I just had one channel member. It would not matter, because the fact that anyone at all wants to pay this dumbass right here that's sitting behind this microphone $5 to make Borderlands videos is pretty damn cool to me. So shout out to you guys. I love y'all motherfuckers to death. But most importantly, remember, and this goes for everybody who checks out the videos here, remember that I love you all to death. I want you to take it easy out there. Stay safe. And with that, I will see you all in the next one.